Good morning, and thank you for tuning into the Andrew Tate Show, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We've got a great show for you guys today. We're going to be covering Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou, the Carolina Panthers and Bryce Young, the CFP format and revenue distribution, and as always, of course, make sure you stick around for later in the show when we'll be diving into the oddities of the day. Before we start, I'd like to ask that you guys like and follow the show. Also, we get a number of questions from the viewers that come in during the show, so to ensure that your question gets read on the air, I ask that you use the tips and donation link with your question. The tips and donation link is GSMCPodcast.net. Just put your question at the top of the list so that I can see it, and it also just really helps the show. Hello, Tate. How are you?
Hello. Happy Monday, Faith.
Happy Monday.
I was refraining from talking to Faith this morning because Faith had that Monday morning glow about her today.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds kind of like kind of bad. But so I want to understand, how was your weekend?
My weekend was great. I told Tate before the show started, he asked how I was, and I said, I'm good. I partied way too hard this weekend, but I had a great weekend, good weekend.
Oh, you just can't be you partied too hard. We want details.
All right, so
not
Friday,
too many details now. You got to pull back on some of them now.
I got you. Friday night, I hung out with some of my boyfriend's co-workers, and we had a great time. We went and did some pool and bowling at one of the bars here, and then just did more pool at another bar. I mean, I didn't play pool. I'm not good at pool.
I'm horrible at it.
So, and then we ended up going back over to one of their apartments afterwards, and I don't think I was asleep in bed until like 6 a.m.
So in other words, you were drinking until 6 a.m. Is that what you're telling us?
Yeah, yes and no. I'm very good about pacing my drinks, so I wasn't like I was like super drunk at 6 a.m. But Miss Grammy over here gets up at 5 a.m. every morning and goes to bed at like 9, so staying up past the time that I would normally be awake was a lot. And then I had to go to work the next day after that, and then we ended up going out again Saturday night. We didn't stay out that late, and then yesterday, my boyfriend did a pop-up with some of his co-workers, and they did like food pop-up at a brewery, and so I went to that.
And Faith's boyfriend is a pastry chef, am I right?
Pastry, I mean, he didn't do pastry this time, but yeah, pastry chef in general, yeah.
Now, all this partying this weekend, is this because of spring break? Or is this just happen to be the weekend to
this just happened to be the weekend. Listen,
the bangs were on point, and you're like, let's go.
Working in the service industry, I'll tell you what, service industry people know how to party.
Oh, girl, I got a story I could tell you that will not be on air. But oh wow, yes.
Yeah, it was a fun weekend.
So,
had a good time, but I'm tired.
Here's the thing. I'm over here thinking about work, and like my whole schedule is weird now. So being in Europe and being based in America, you guys just went to daylight savings time, right?
Yes, which I forgot about.
That doesn't start for us for 3 weeks.
Oh, well.
So appointments on my schedule that would be normally, like this call is normally at noon.
Mm-hmm.
For the next 3 weeks, it's at 11.
Yeah.
And so I'm worried about this because this time change that I'm going to end up showing up really late for our show one day. And I'm a stickler. Do not be late on my appointments.
Yes. Tate is a stickler when it comes on time. On time.
Yes, I am. His face starts laughing at me over here. Okay, let's see. What do you got for me today?
Okay, so we have Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou that happened on Friday, I believe.
Yes.
So it was over before it really began in Saudi Arabia as Anthony Joshua pummeled his way past Francis Ngannou with a devastating knockout blow in the second round. It was a much-needed victory for the 34-year-old who struggled to find his best boxing over the last few years, but this showing looked like the Joshua of old as he brutally aced past his opponent in Saudi Arabia. Coming into the fight, there was a lot of excitement surrounding Ngannou in what was just his second ever professional boxing bout. He had made a living in the UFC, where he had been a heavyweight champion, but the veteran fighter fancied a change of scenery and moved from the octagon to the ring. But if you guys saw this, whoo, baby, he folded over like a chair.
Okay. So, did this surprise me? It did. And it's kind of like I got tricked by the fool's gold. And what I mean by that is, give you a little background. Francis Ngannou, former UFC heavyweight champion, I believe current PFL champion. Francis Ngannou has been famous for the powerful knockout. He is that power punching guy that is rarely ever matched by anyone. But that's in mixed martial arts. There's a reason why there's two different organizations. Mixed martial arts, it's judo, jujitsu, wrestling, boxing. You have to be a very rounded fighter to fight in the UFC or PFL, which means you are good at a lot of different things. But rarely are you great at anything, because you can't, if you're practicing your boxing, then your ground game's has to suffer. You can't, where you're talking about Anthony Joshua, who is former heavyweight champion of the world, has been boxing since he was a kid, only boxing, only having to focus on, boxing, defending, not worrying about takedowns and defending on your back and all of this stuff. And the reason why I was fooled is because this is what I thought was going to happen to Francis Ngannou against Tyson Fury, who is the heavyweight champion of the world. They fought, and many accounts, many people had Francis Ngannou winning, all to the point he even dropped the heavyweight boxing champion of the world. But when I watched this fight, it was quite interesting because Joshua didn't do kind of like what Tyson Fury, which was, I feel like Tyson Fury took him for granted, took him like, we'll have some fun and we'll take care of it, and got his butt whooped. Many people thought he lost. If they would have said Francis Ngannou beat Tyson Fury, I would not have been shocked, because when you watch that fight was that close. Joshua didn't do this. Joshua wasn't playing around.
No.
Joshua came, there's this whole term called fumbling the bag. Joshua wasn't there to fumble the bag. He was there. It was a heist. He went in there.
It was just another day of work for him, honestly. That's how it looked.
Oh my God.
And went in, clocked in, boom, boom, done, clock out.
See, the thing was, what I thought was quite ingenious with him is Ngannou kind of came in his very aggressive state, throwing kind of like wild haymakers, which is kind of what made him kind of famous in mixed martial arts. And Joshua did something incredibly smart. He started with the jab. He set everything up behind the jab, either like a jab to the body, a jab to the head, a jab to the chest, a jab to the body, jab to the head. He just kept on with the jab, and then set him up with the big right hand. And that first right hand, he hit him, but I thought it was a slip initially because he slid. And like but Joshua has some power. People don't realize how much power that guy has. And Ngannou went down, and but I was kind of surprised at how long it took him to get like. When I heard the 8 count, I'm like, what the heck? He slipped. What is he getting up faster? And he got up on a count of 9, and I was like, that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next round, when he got hit, the one shot and he went down, but then when he set it up again behind that jab.
Yeah.
He threw that jab. It was a jab to the body. No, jab to the head, jab to the body, overhand right, dropped him. That's when he was on Dream Street.
Yeah.
And when he was on Dream Street, oh my God. He stood up, and Joshua didn't even set it up behind the jab. He just threw a straight right hand, and Ngannou was out so cold, I thought he was going to start sucking his thumb. He was hurt. He was out. I mean,
yeah,
you could have counted the 35, 40, 50, and he was not getting up. He was taking a nap. It's this, in the world of combat sports, karma is a bitch. And I look at how he knocked out Alistair Overeem, and Reem got knocked out, that he was just straight as a board. Well, Ngannou got knocked out. He was straight as a board. He got put down.
Yeah.
What are you going to
say? I've never watched boxing, MMA, anything like that before. So this was the first time I ever really like watched something like this. And you should have seen my face when that man just went. I was like, oh my God.
Man, a straight right hand can make you take a nap. I mean, a nap. A straight right hand is brutal. And there was the last one, it was just no setup. It was just straight down the pipe. And it landed flush. And I'm telling you right now, there's not a man on the planet that would have stood up from that shot. That was as clean as a shot as I have ever seen. Man.
Well, he looked like he was struggling with the first one, where he getting back up from that. And I was like, there's no way we already first hit. And he's already down for the count.
Now, here's the thing, though. This really sets up Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury has his title fight coming up. If he wins that one, then if I'm Tyson Fury, I'm immediately fighting Francis Ngannou next. And then I'm fighting Joshua. He could go up with 3 massive paydays in a row. But the blueprint has been made. You can't start boxing this late in the game and think you're going to be able to compete on that level. Just because the heavyweight champion kind of was feeling himself and was quite cocky, allowed Francis Ngannou to stay and get into the game. There's a lot of fighters, I think, that can do that to Francis Ngannou as a fighter. Boxing is different than MMA. Now, you switch that around and you put that fight in the UFC, and I think it'll be a totally opposite reaction. I think Ngannou would destroy Joshua and punish him, but not in that boxing ring. No. You stay in your area, he stays in his area. Yeah. It rarely ever works out for a guy to be like, you know what? I've been doing this sport for 20 years, my entire life. I'm going to go on over. I'm going to go start doing this other sport. It rarely ever works. Yeah. Eventually, especially in combat sports is one of those things where a bad day at the office, Faith, for you is, man, I slipped up and I said something, I'm embarrassed. A bad day at the office in boxing and in mixed martial arts is, someone just knocked my head into the 3rd row, and I'm embarrassed.
And you look like a fool. I
So
mean, yeah.
did you enjoy the first off, my breakdown was longer than the fight. Do you understand that?
Well, what was so
We
funny
covered
is like Tate asked me to watch the fight for the show, but they said they were like, it's not gonna take long. It was literally like, I think it was maybe 5 minutes. I was like, oh my gosh.
it
And it's
was
just
I
in
think it
my,
was 4 minutes.
I was like,
That was the most lopsided fight. And Ngannou got hit with some of the cleanest shots. Man,
mm-hmm,
he got baptized in the ring.
he
He saw
did.
Jesus.
He did. Yeah. Yeah. Jesus came down.
Oh my God. I can't believe how he got hit.
That man folded
Man,
like a chair. It was crazy.
ooh, yes, he did. I tell you what, the sad thing is Ngannou has to fight one more time.
Mm,
He doesn't have to, but they said he got about $20 million for this fight,
mm-hmm.
and he's going to turn around and probably get another 20 million to fight Tyson Fury again. I take your two L's and call it. That's because I'm not retiring until I get that rematch
Hell, I'll take a
with
beating for $20 million.
and man, I just don't see him like Joshua said he should keep with it and hold his head up. And I don't see it that way. I feel like he had a good showing against a guy that thought he was so far outmatched that he outmatched him by so much that he didn't have to take him serious,
Mm-hmm.
and confidence got into the game, and that's what happened with Tyson Fury. There's only one chance for catching someone slipping. The next time they get in the ring, Tyson's going to take it serious. Also, when there's so many people that thought he lost that fight, coming back, he's going to want to prove something. And I could see him really, really punishing Francis Ngannou on the rematch. I give Francis' boxing career for me is over.
Mm-hmm.
And it might when you get knocked out like that, the question is sometimes those shots that cause such a massive concussion, because he was on Dream Street. Sometimes you don't come back from those.
Mm-hmm.
With a knockout like that, if I'm Francis Ngannou's camp, I'm not doing MMA. I'm not doing boxing for 12 months. That brain, you got to rest the brain. I think you got to give him a year before he comes back getting a shot like that. Man, I got a headache. I had to take me 2 Tylenol PMs after seeing that shot.
He was counting sheep.
Oh, woo. Big angry sheep.
Yeah, yeah. That was a
Wow.
that was a sight to see for
See, it was
sure.
worth. I told you now. I've made Faith a boxing fan. Slowly, I am corrupting Faith on every level.
Slowly but surely. Alrighty, guys. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be discussing the Carolina Panthers and Bryce Young. So stick around.